I am Jill Vallance. I work at the Johnson Laboratory at CU Boulder, where we study a parasite called Scaphanocephalus expansus. And I, in particular, study the behavioral effects that Scaphanocephalus has on particularly ocean surgeonfish and parrotfish when they get infected with the parasite. I think that the ocean is the coolest thing on this planet, and I think it's like the most ancestral thing on this planet. I don't know, it's like the biggest thing we got. And I think that the more I'm away from the ocean, the more I miss it, and the more I'm like, oh, this needs to be a part of my life. If I had the choice, I would spend most of my days under the water. Just it makes me so happy. Honestly, I'm so grateful for being landlocked because marine biology was something that I always wanted to do when I was a kid. I would go to SeaWorld and be like, I'm gonna be a dolphin trainer, and that's how I learned about marine biology, which is kind of messed up. That was never something that I was planning on pursuing when I went into college. I can't imagine any day of my life without the ocean being a part of it. And so studying the ocean was the only option. I was just like, okay, how do I need to do this? And there was a lab open, and I saw a position open about fishes. It just so happened that the fish position that I got was at a parasite lab. And now that I've worked with a parasite, I'm just even more in awe about the world and excited about different organisms. And my lab manager told me when I first joined that I would love parasites by the end, and I was like, okay, and now I really do love parasites, and it's not even the end. The parasite is called Scaphanocephalus. And how you spell that is S-C-A-P-H-A-N. Oh my gosh. Scaphano. Oh my god. Okay, wait, let me start over. Scaphanocephalus, or we call it Scaph, and I'm gonna try to spell it. Scaphanocephalus. Scaphanocephalus. It's a hard word to say. And it's a hard word to spell. Scaph is way easier to say.
Scaphanocephalus.
Is that what I? No, that's not what I said. So the parasite's name is Scaphanocephalus. S-C-A-P-H-A-N-O-C-E. No, I can't do it. Scaphanocephalus is spelled S-C-A-P-H-A-N-O-C-E-P-H-A-L-U-S. Scaphanocephalus. Scaph. Way easier. Everyone should call it Scaph. And the second part of the name is Expansus. E-X-P-A-N-S-U-S. Scaphanocephalus expansus. There are different hosts the parasite inhabits. Scaphanocephalus is a obligatory parasite, which means that it cannot live unless it is in a host. So the life cycle of the parasite follows the host, and the one I study, the fish, are they get infected. We're thinking maybe through their gill slits, or perhaps through any opening in their mouth, where then the parasite will attach itself under its skin. It always starts in the fins, and then it goes to the body. This parasite is endodermal, which means it's under the skin. It either kills the cells or just somehow aggregates a lot of melanin, which is the pigment that we all carry that makes our hair brown or our eyes brown. That's how the spots happen, is with the accumulation of melanin or the dying cells. We think that the black spots make that parasite and that host more susceptible to be eaten by their next host, which is an osprey. So when an osprey is flying on top of the ocean and it sees a fish, it's a lot more likely to see a fish that has black spots. Scaphanocephalus is able to move on to its next host. Before the fish, we think is a snail, and we haven't been able to find that snail yet. We found up to 17 fish at this point, fish species that do get infected. I mean, the same way we have different life stages and humans have different life stages, the parasite also has different life stages. And its whole goal as a creature is to continue that life cycle. You can find literature about Scaph going all the way to 1890 something, people were listing Scaphanocephalus expansus. Our understanding of it has really only started to sharpen with my two lead investigators of my lab, Pete Johnson and Dana Calhoun. They were really just on the forefront of this research. and they were really the ones to figure out like what exactly the life cycle looks like and the physical traits that are attributed with the parasite, and they're really bringing into the behavioral stuff now, which I get to be a part of, which is great. That means that I have read almost like every single literature available on Scaphanocephalus. There are still people who are researching it because it's starting to just become a really noticeable problem when there's black spots all over your fish. And so there are labs that are doing stuff. They actually just found a case of Scaphanocephalus in Ibiza, which is wild. Our lab, I think, is definitely on the forefront of it just because it's like our main dedication. I think I'm an expert because I've read everything I can read about it. The most interesting part is definitely the behavior stuff. The behavioral stuff is so cool because animal behavior is such a always changing kind of discipline. It's really just separating like ourselves from nature and making sure that you're not humanizing these animals, recording patterns. It's just very cool to see things act as they naturally should and as they naturally just know how. My favorite part is honestly getting to think about the ocean. Like that sounds so nerdy, but at the end of the day, like it kind of just feels like I'm in the ocean and I'm scuba diving around, you know? Like I feel like it's like surfers watching surf videos. It's like the same kind of just like, oh, this is so relaxing. This feels so good. I can like imagine myself to be somewhere where I know I'm not. The videos I watch are taken by scuba transects underwater. So we'll have like a scuba diver and basically they will just start filming as they swim. And basically what they'll do is if they see any fish, the ones we have a lot of videos of are surgeonfish, and it's because it's so easy to see the spots on them. As the scuba diver is swimming, they will like point to any fish that they can, any ocean surgeonfish they see. What I do is I pause the video and I find the perfect frame to look at the side of the fish, and then I basically just count all the black spots on it, because what we can then do with the data of seeing the black spots on the fish is we can quantify just how much infection is in that area. I think that if I were to compare this to something that happens to a college student, like if I were to compare like the relationship Scaphanocephalus has with the fish. So imagine you're the fish, right? And you have this like really annoying friend that is always with you and is just kind of like depleting your energy, but like they're you know, like it's not a huge bother. They're not doing anything crazy to you, so you can never come up with a reason to like not be friends with them. All of a sudden, one day they get you into like the hugest trouble of your entire life. This friend like gets you like stuck with the police. That's basically, I think, how I would equate it to being a college student. You're the fish. The friend is Scaph. I think that people should want to know about this because it's cool to know about the world happening around you. But I do think people should also know about this because black spots is something that makes a fish so unappetizing, so unappealing, and honestly kind of freaky to look at. We have so much data across like just like the internet from people posting fish and being like, what the hell? They can't sell those fish at a market, you know, like those look unappetizing, those look gross. At the same time, you know, parasites are gonna parasite, and it's kind of just cool to learn about your environment. I think the next steps for me personally in studying like fish behavior, specifically with the parasite, we are now getting like focal follows of fish where the camera will be on the fish for like 10 minutes at a time. So now we can really start to track like behavioral like effects because we're seeing the fish for so long that we're able to do that. That's the next step for fish behavior. But in terms of Scaphanocephalus, the next step is finding the snail. I think that how I would rank myself as an expert in terms of like behavior with Scaphanocephalus, I would give myself like top 3. No one else is studying it. You know, like no one else really has thought to do this. No one wants to. No, people want to, but I'm proud to get to be someone who gets to do it.